was a merchant I know in a small Midwestern town who sold children's shoes. He gently steered moms to the first pair of shoes she was buying for her little infant, often to a more inexpensive but more reliable shoe than the mom might have chosen for herself. And when these young moms opened up their pocketbook and sometimes didn't have enough money to pay for the shoes, the merchant said, "Get those shoes on your little one's feet. Bring back the rest when you're in town." Alone in his store, he would make himself a little bit of lunch in the back in his hot plate. He would fry up olives and peppers and sausage and garlic, and his customers would come in and share a bite, and increasingly they seemed to come in at lunchtime. And when he retired, a line of people circled round the block, 3 blocks long, to say that it would never be the same buying shoes again, that the story of their life and their children's lives, in some cases their grandchildren's lives, were punctuated by this merchant and how he had been a part of one of the most important parts of their customers' of their lives. My dad, Vincenzo Giuseppe Cristando Lombardo, selling Buster Brown shoes in Des Plaines, Illinois, is the first one who taught me the importance of being real. And yes, all 7 of us Lombardo children also had to wear the Buster Brown get-up. Anybody ever wear a blonde pageboy wig in the hot Chicago weather? Humility, one of the most important parts of being real. But the question is, can we scale this? Can we be this kind of an organization on an everyday basis? And the answer is yes. The beloved companies take pains about being real. Now, one of the interesting things is all of the lingo and shorthand that we have in our organizations to define customers, processes, etc. And what happens is this lingo gets in the way of thinking about the human being on the other end of our decision. So a lot of the attitude and then what translates to actions is how people talk to each other about customers. So I always ask people, if I had a cup and I had it against the wall and I was listening to a meeting in your business, is that what you'd want other people to put up on the internet about your company? Now, in the airline business, you guys know that there is also a shorthand of how people talk to each other among the flight attendants. You know much better than me, if I'm in seat 10 and I want a cup of coffee, the flight attendant might go to the back and say, Paxton seat 10 wants a cough. Well, what about me? WestJet decided to get rid of the lingo. They're a Canadian airline. The folks from Canada know that. And what they did was they call their executives big shots. They think about their passengers as honored guests. And by creating a new attitude and how they serve and support customers, it permeates the organization so much that in 5 years they leapt over all the other Canadian airlines and became the #2 airline in the Canadian industry. This is a letter, an interesting thing from our friends at Southwest. When I was writing the book, I had the wonderful privilege of spending some time with Colleen Barrett, who was the president of Southwest, and she was telling me about this. There was the first rash of customer satisfaction surveys that had gone out in the mid-'90s, I believe, and Northwest Airlines, for whatever reason, decided they were #1, upon which Southwest Airlines put out this ad in a lot of media. It said, after lengthy deliberation at the highest executive levels and extensive consultation with our legal department, we have arrived at an official corporate response to Northwest Airlines' claim to be #1 in customer satisfaction. Liar, liar, pants on fire. The beloved companies take their business seriously, but they don't take themselves seriously.